Hi everyone, welcome back to Travel Diaries by Neo. In this episode 10 of our series, we have Shishti with us. She recently visited Vietnam and she's here to tell us all the insider details such as cost, stays, and flights. So let us dive in. So, Shishti, what made you choose Vietnam?
So I have already been to a few countries. The last country I've been to was Thailand, and
Okay.
I've been to Thailand actually twice. At the time I was planning this trip, I'd been to Thailand twice. So for me, one of the main factors when choosing a trip, an international trip, is the cost. And I heard that Vietnam was a very low cost country,
Yeah, right.
and it's also very rich in culture, and the
Yeah.
food is very good. So that's how I chose Vietnam.
Okay. And how many days was the trip for?
The trip was for 14 days, so
14
2 weeks.
days.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, how did you go about flight bookings?
So I was actually tracking flight prices well in advance. So around 3 to 4 months out, I was looking at the prices,
Hmm.
and I use Skyscanner and Google Flights to. There's a feature where you can track the prices as
Yeah.
they go up and down.
Hmm.
And as soon as the prices went down, I
Hmm.
booked flights for
Oh,
Vietnam.
okay. And which app or platform did you use?
Actually, initially, on Google Flights and Skyscanner itself, you have like an aggregate of different companies
Yeah.
which are selling that same flight but at different prices.
Prices. Yeah, yeah.
And I was actually going to book from there initially,
Yeah.
but then I remembered that Neo also has a flight booking option. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I actually checked on Neo, and because I had a lot of Neo coins saved up, I could actually redeem them on the flight, and it came
Yeah.
out to be significantly cheaper than the
Okay.
other options. So,
Okay, that's amazing. So, since you booked your flights 4 months prior, so what will be the difference if you book your flights 1 month in advance to the trip and then 4 months prior?
okay. So it's actually a huge difference. Now, if we look at the flight to Vietnam, I got a direct flight to Vietnam, and I got it for around 12,000 rupees. But
Hmm.
if I had booked it a little later,
Hmm.
it can go all the way up from 12,000 to like 16,000, 18,000,
Oh,
anything like that, 20,000. There's a
yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah, right. Okay.
This is a tip for people booking flights. If you are tracking flight prices on Skyscanner or on Google Flights, don't panic as soon as you see the price going slightly up and buy it right then, because there's always a chance that the price can dip.
Might go down. Yeah.
So when you can always see historic prices, and you can see what the lowest prices that the flight goes for, and almost always, like depending on whether it's a weekday or a weekend or if it's a holiday or things like that, the flight prices keep fluctuating.
Yeah.
So just be patient and book it at the right time.
Okay, got it. Now let's talk about visa. So, how was your visa process? Was it difficult or like it was easy for you?
I would say it was quite easy, even though there was a slight hiccup, but
Hmm.
I booked it on Neo itself,
Okay.
which was great for me because there was no additional charges or anything like that.
Hmm.
So I booked visa for two people,
Hmm.
and one of them actually came back almost immediately, like within 4 to 5 days or whatever the normal time span is.
Yeah.
But in the other one, there was an issue in one of the documents I uploaded,
Okay.
which made the visa delayed by a little bit. So I was a little worried whether it would make it back in time or not.
Yeah.
But actually, I reached out to Neo's customer support, and they really helped me out, and they did everything on their end to
Hmm.
get me the visa in time.
Okay, that is amazing. Good to hear. So, now let's talk about the itinerary. How did you plan your itinerary?
Okay. So while planning the trip, I know some people like to look at YouTube videos and bloggers,
Hmm.
but for me, that takes the entire fun out of it, because if I look at any videos of the place, I feel like I've already visited, so there's
Yeah.
no point in going again.
Yeah.
So what I do is like a quick Googling,
Yeah.
and you find like a lot of sites and listicles and things talking about places you can visit.
Hmm.
One more fun thing I do is I just open up Google Maps,
Hmm.
and like on Google Maps, I scroll through. If I see anything interesting, I just add it to the list,
Hmm.
whether I
Yeah.
can make it in the end or not. But it's just,
Yeah.
it's fun. You see a lot of like unknown places that way.
Hmm. Okay, all right. So, were you more of a go with the flow kind of traveler, or you made the whole plan?
So I actually like to keep a very tight budget for my trips, which means I can't really go with the flow that much when it comes to like experiencing different like curated things.
Hmm.
I would say I like to keep my itineraries quite tight, but
Yeah.
like if I'm at a place,
Hmm.
I can basically wander around wherever, and that's not fixed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about accommodation. So where did you choose to stay? Did you book at hotels, Airbnbs, or like which websites also did you use?
Okay. So, since we were two people, I felt like Airbnbs did not make much sense.
Right.
If you're going in a group, you can book Airbnbs. It would be well worth it.
Yeah.
But I mainly stayed at hotels and I used booking.com and Agoda and all. I just
Okay.
saw where the best deal was and I booked from there.
That's amazing. So, since we're talking about stays, this is out of my personal curiosity. So, if someone is traveling under budget, will it be possible for him or her to stay under 1000 rupees?
I think you can stay well under 1000 rupees because surprisingly, Vietnam is extremely like cost effective when it comes to accommodation.
Hmm.
If you take my example, I said I was there for 14 days,
Hmm.
but all my accommodations cost totaled up to only 11,000 rupees,
Oh, that is
which comes up
amazing.
to 800 rupees a night
Yeah,
per person.
that is crazy. Yeah.
So it's and we didn't slum it out or anything. We didn't even stay at hostels. We stayed at proper hotels with a room of our own.
Yeah.
So it
Okay,
was really fun.
that is amazing. So, what factors did you keep in mind while booking your accommodation?
For accommodation, I think my number one factor would be cleanliness. So I'll be looking through like all the photos and all in the listing and seeing, what room looks good.
Yeah.
I also would like some natural light in the room. I think that's
Yeah.
quite basic.
Yeah.
But if we talk about the area the hotel is in, I always try to book like just outside the touristy areas.
Hmm.
So if you book within a touristy area, you will get like quite steep prices. But if
Hmm.
you book outside that area, then you can stay again like in a budget accommodation,
Yeah.
and the hotels are quite good.
Okay. But I think cleanliness is a top factor for everyone, I feel.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk more about the city and attractions there. So which cities did you visit in Vietnam?
So when I landed in Vietnam, I landed in Da Nang where I stayed for around 4 days. I also had a day trip to Hoi An.
Okay.
And from there, I went to Hanoi for 5 days and had a 1 day trip to Ninh Binh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if someone is traveling for the first time to Vietnam, what would you recommend them to like? Which cities do they visit?
Since I only went to two places, like two main places, Da Nang and Hanoi, I would highly recommend both of them. Da Nang for the beaches, and it's just like a very clean, very pristine location.
Yeah.
And you have like the charm of, I think, old school Vietnam, as well as, tall buildings and hotels and just
Yeah.
places to visit nearby.
Hmm.
And Hanoi is famous for, French architecture. Like there's a huge French influence there. But
Okay.
again, it's all sort of melded together with old Vietnamese architecture and culture.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would recommend these two places. Yeah.
So Da Nang and Hanoi.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about your favorite experience for like each of the places you visited.
Okay. So my favorite experience, I'll go city wise.
Hmm.
But in Da Nang, I think the most fun part for me was when we went to this place called Bana Hills.
Okay.
So it's sort
Bana
of,
Hills.
yeah, Bana Hills.
Okay.
So it's a European sort of castle-ish type place which they built like on the very top of a hill. And the
Okay.
way to get there is by cable car.
Okay.
Now I'm not sure if it's the longest cable car now, but it used to be like the longest cable car in ride in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just an amazing experience. It goes like all the way up from the top, and then there's like a few turns the car makes.
Hmm.
And like even the cars themselves are like fully enclosed in glass. It was like a
Hmm.
wonderful experience. It was like I was flying over the hills.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
one more experience which I really loved in Da Nang was just riding my scooty through the streets.
Yeah.
I rented a scooty out there.
Yeah.
That's also very cheap, by the way. So,
But like, how much would it cost you to rent a scooter?
it'll cost between 300 to 500 rupees a day. And even petrol is like 80 rupees water. So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's way better than any public transportation if you know how to drive a scooty. They don't ask for your licenses or anything.
Yeah.
The only problem is they drive on the right hand side of the road, which I
Okay.
thought I would struggle to get used to. But then when I went there, I realized that people in India drive on the wrong side of the road all the time. So I was completely prepared.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much of a difference for me.
Okay.
So just riding my scooty through the streets and like on the hills and off the hills and all, it was a lot of fun. And for Hanoi, I think my favorite experience, it won't be anything touristy. It's just like all the way at the end of the trip when we were winding down, it was the last day and we thought, everything else is done. So what do we do now?
Yeah.
Just went out walking. Just went on a nice long walk and there's a huge lake there.
Yeah.
And there's this one road that goes like through the lake, like a bridge. I'm just
Okay.
walking on that, and there's a pagoda right in the middle of that, middle
Oh.
of the bridge. And that was, I think, a very beautiful experience. And that sunset was like the perfect way to end the trip.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm sure you'd have pictures. We'd love to see them.
Yes.
So, since we talked about transportation, so what do you think will be the best mode of transportation to travel in Vietnam?
In Vietnam, I think if you can rent your own scooties for, say, intra-city travel, that would be the best thing to do because you get all the independence you need and you can stop anywhere, things like that.
Hmm.
But also, taxis are very, very cheap over there, even cheaper than like our
Scooty.
Ola and Uber.
Oh, okay.
So, taxi is a good way to travel if you're like very tired and you can't walk somewhere. We used to take taxis also.
Yeah.
And if you're going between cities, they have a very robust railway system like India does. But it also, I mean, of course, traveling by train takes a lot of time, although you might see like a lot of good scenery and, rural countryside and things like that.
Hmm.
So you can go by either train or even flights are a good option.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the food scene there. So what was it like? The overall food scene, was it good? Like, is it vegetarian friendly? Is it not vegetarian friendly? What was it?
So I'm not a vegetarian. I'm actually the opposite of a vegetarian. I'll eat
Okay.
whatever you put in front of me.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, the food scene in Vietnam is just crazy. There's all sorts of things you can eat and all sorts of new flavors which you've never experienced before. Like I went to Vietnam, I had snails for the first time. I
Okay.
had like crocodile meat for the first time.
Okay.
So it was, but like even without like those any of those crazy meats, if you're not comfortable with that, you have the regular like chicken and pork and things like that. And they've really perfected like how to add flavor in these meats and like slow cooking and there's like,
Yeah.
sauces and vegetables and it's just amazing. I dream
Okay.
about it even now.
That is great.
So for vegetarian people, you won't get any vegetarian options as such, and you should be very careful because I think they put fish sauce and all in a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Fish oil, I think.
Fish oil, fish sauce,
Yeah.
all sorts of things. But since there are so many tourists in Vietnam, you can get a lot of vegan friendly places. So you can have vegan food instead of vegetarian.
Vegetarian. Okay. Got it. So, what are your favorite dishes that you tried there?
So my favorite dishes, of course, there's pho and there's banh mi, which are the two famous dishes of Vietnam. So as
Okay.
soon as we got off the flight, the first thing we had was a nice big bowl of pho, which is so either chicken broth or pork broth with noodles and like a bunch of leaves and all in it. But it tastes just so good. It's like warm comfort food. Even though I've never had it before, but it's like
Yeah.
tasted like comfort food to me.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And banh mi is like French bread but filled with Vietnamese style meat and vegetables.
Okay.
So it's a sandwich,
Yeah.
but that is also like you'll find it on every street, at every corner. There'll be like people selling banh mi, and every place makes it differently, but every place tastes so good.
Okay.
So those were the two famous dishes we tried. But there are also like if you go to sort of not so famous places, you'll get other dishes.
Yeah.
But there was this one dish called bun corn, and this was actually in a sort of villagey area where I'd gone while I was on my way to Bana Hills. And we left really early in the morning, and like nothing in the city was open. So I was worried about, where to have breakfast and things like that. But we
Yeah.
were passing through like a very rural area.
Yeah.
And there was a small stall in the corner
Hmm.
where I stopped my scooty.
Yeah.
And there they were selling bun corn. And
Okay.
it's like a rice dumpling, but it's like meat and other fillings wrapped up in a rice paper
Okay.
with like pork floss and peanuts and things like that on top. And that was
Okay.
probably the best breakfast I've ever had.
Okay. That's good to hear. So our next segment is called Show and Tell. And do you have anything for our viewers that you would want to show them, or maybe pictures or souvenirs that you got from there?
Definitely. I have a few things over here. I didn't buy a lot of souvenirs because for me, the most important souvenirs are here. But
Right.
whenever I go to a place, I always try to look for postcards
Yeah.
because that's something I like to collect. So
Yeah.
whenever I go, I find like the most quirky postcards.
Hmm.
But in Vietnam, I felt like all the postcards, I mean, in the end, they're all printed in like the thousands. There's no sort of personal touch or anything to them. It's just something which looks nice. I can print it out at home, right?
Right.
But when I was in Hoi An, in the streets, I saw this person. He was printing out, sorry, he was drawing postcards.
Postcard. Okay.
So this is an actual hand-drawn postcard on this very beautiful handmade paper, and this is actually on top of my bed, so I see this every day.
Okay.
I just love like the fluidity and the motion in this.
Yeah. Can I have a look? It's really pretty.
And actually, I'm also a designer, and I do sketching of my own in my free time. So I can absolutely see like the mastery which goes into this, and like I can absolutely see the mastery that goes into this and how effortless the strokes are.
Yeah.
And this is just something that's amazing to look at. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Now, speaking of sketching, I also carry a sketchbook around everywhere I go, and I have
Okay.
a few sketches which I made in Vietnam.
Okay.
This is the first one.
Oh my God. This is really pretty. It is amazing.
This is a view from Bana Hills. Like I said, there's a lot of like European architecture. There's winding roads and things like that on top of the hill.
Yeah. It's
So
amazing.
this is one sketch I did over there.
Okay.
And this is a temple in Ninh Binh. So Ninh Binh
Okay.
is this place where there's a lot of hills and there's a river winding to the hills. And this was actually a very tiny pagoda which was out of the way. But I went to it, like I just happened to go there on my scooty, and it was like a very serene place. I share
Okay.
pictures also of this place.
Definitely. Please. ठीक है.
Okay. And this is just one tiny thing I got from Vietnam. So actually, wherever I go, I try to bring back like this is very specific, but magnets of food found over there. So this is just a bowl of pho. And it's very
Okay.
cute. And it's very well made. It
Yeah,
stays
it's
on my
actually
fridge.
cute.
And it
Yeah.
reminds me to try and learn how to make pho someday, but I haven't done it yet.
You will, I hope, someday.
Yes.
Okay. So that was it for this segment. So let's talk about your budget now. So can you like tell us what was your approximate budget for this trip?